Hi everyone. Hi to our World Tempest family watching at home. Thank you for joining us for another session with the showcase. This time we are joined by a very special guest, our good friend Gregory Kissling, who is with Omega. He's the head of product management.
Correct.
I got that right. Yes. He was like, get it right, Susie. I was like, I'm going to get it right, Greg. But we're here on a very special occasion to share with you something very cool indeed. And I hope you guys have all watched the recent James Bond movie, by the way, which is called
No Time to Die.
He's good. He's so good. I hope you guys have watched it already because this video is going to include some little spoilers. Because what it's all about is actually whether the little trick in the James Bond movie that, you know, sometimes in the entire canon of James Bond movies, he has done like little tricks with his watch. There are like little gadgets, electronic, like
different gadgets, laser beam, grappling hook,
exactly,
bomb, explosive.
Exactly, and we're here to discuss whether the latest gadget featured in No Time to Die is actually feasible, whether it's actually realistic.
It's always a mix between fiction and realistic.
Don't give it away, Greg. We're going to say at the end whether it's realistic or not. But anyway, so we are here today actually in the newly reopened Omega boutique in Geneva, Rue du Rhône, number 31, I believe. So it's brand new. You can see it all beautiful and nicely done up. So if you happen to be in Geneva, do stop by and check it out and say hi to everyone inside. Greg is probably not going to be here all the time. He's busy doing like new watches and stuff in Vienne at the Omega headquarters, but you know, you never know who you might come across. So, Greg, let's get started on the James Bond and Omega. Maybe we can just give our audience watching at home like a little bit of history about the relationship between Omega and James Bond, because as we know, like in earlier films, like really earlier films, he wasn't always wearing an Omega, but like the way you explained it to me the other time, it makes so much sense that Commander James Bond, the super spy, is wearing an Omega Seamaster. Could you tell us a bit about that?
So Omega has been worn on the wrist of Commander Bond, alias James Bond 007.
Yes, for his full title.
Since GoldenEye in 1995, which was the first movie with Pierce Brosnan, and since then the spy and his watch have been inseparable, and this is thanks to the costume designer on GoldenEye, Lindy Hemming, who decided to introduce the diver 300 meters with a blue face. At that time it was with a quartz movement, but then we had different evolution, automatic chronometer movement, and then the coaxial escapement, and so on.
And so many times throughout his long and very dangerous career, his watch has been instrumental in like saving his life, or in fact saving the world. We can say this, right?
Absolutely.
Instrumental. Omega watches have been really like the key point in saving the world. And this happened, by the way, also in real life with one of the Speedmasters in
Apollo 13. Yes.
So
that's
you know,
we received the Silver Stumpy Award.
Exactly. So it's not completely crazy that a watch could save lives, or you know, save a massive catastrophe or disaster from happening, because it has happened before in history.
So, if you take, for example, GoldenEye, 007 wants to escape, and thanks to his Omega watch, which has a laser beam coming out from the dot on the turning bezel, he can laser cut a steel plate and then escape. Crazy. Yeah,
well, there's a whole catalogue of things, special things that James Bond's watches can do. Unfortunately, we are not exactly the research and development branch of
MI6.
Thank you for the correction. This guy knows so much. But okay, so let's talk about the watch in No Time to Die. The model is the Omega Seamaster 300 meters. It's the dive watch.
It's the diver's watch, yes, but it's a very specific model, and Daniel Craig was definitely during the design process of the watch. He gave us a lot of inputs. The watch is based on the last generation of the diver's watch, but with a vintage look and also very specific dome sapphire glass, inspired by the second generation of the Seamaster 300. And,
You said he was very strong. He was very. He really wanted this particular look. Is it
Exactly.
because he thought it was really strong for. It's really important for the character James Bond. Was it something of his own personal preference? A mix of the two?
yeah, he wanted also to add a kind of military touch because during the second, from the early days of the Second World War, Omega delivered more than 110,000 military watches to the MOD, which is the Ministry of Defense. And that's why we have a very strong relation with all these military watches. And James Bond, as a commander, was part of the Royal Navy. And that's why there's a very strong and interesting link. And he wanted also to add this kind of black tropical effect, which turned in a dark brown color for the bezel, but also for
Like
the
an
diamond.
aged effect.
Exactly.
So you can really tell that it's something that has seen a lot of action. It's been used. It's gone through a lot of adventures as well. It gives that kind of sense.
Yeah. Lightweight, also
Lightweight.
what was very important. And there's a very nice anecdote during Skyfall movie. We produced a prototype just for him. It was a Planet Ocean Seamaster 600 meters at that time in stainless steel, but just for him we produced a prototype in titanium in order to reduce the weight of the watch. Titanium, as maybe you know, has less density than stainless steel. It's
Exactly.
almost twice lighter.
But still
And-
has the same material strength, and it's still
Yeah,
very
exactly.
high performance.
Yeah, and that's why we decided to go with a grade 2, also in order to have this kind of dark gray color, which perfectly suit with a military feeling, and that's why the watch is completely matte finish.
I think that's something really interesting for people to know. Like, people imagine that, in the movie, the writers, they create the script and they say the watch needs to do this, then the watch needs to do that. It needs to fit certain characteristics of James Bond, obviously.
Yep.
But the way that you're telling us about it, it's really like Daniel Craig himself had a lot of feedback on what the watch was going to be like. And, and you think that an actor wouldn't really demand or put any sort of requirements on the watch that he's wearing, but obviously the character that he played, he became so close to it, and he became so really sort of close and into his own understanding of the character, and that was why he was able to really give all this feedback.
It was a very great collaboration. It was not just a product placement, but really a great collaboration. And the most important thing of the watch is the magnetic resistance, because Q developed something very special for the No Time to Die movies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's go right into it. So the watch in No Time to Die, it does something very special. Now, once again, if you haven't watched the movie, please stop watching this video now. Go and watch the movie and then come back to us, because massive spoilers alerts. This is a big plot point and actually what happens for James Bond to kind of defeat the villain, we can say this, or overcome the obstacles in his way. So, spoilers, everyone all good? Okay,
All
Greg,
set.
tell
Yeah.
us, what is the special function of the watch
Yeah.
on James Bond's wrist in No Time to Die?
Yeah, this is for the final mission. Q developed a very specific module. It's a kind of coiled mechanism, which is fitted on the underside of the watch, so it is plugged on the case back.
We actually have the watch here. If you
We-
could
we-
kind of hold it up
we-
and
we
see
have
where
the
it's
watch,
placed.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm just
let's-
going to switch to a different view. There we go.
So here we have the watch without the coiled mechanism, and you can see here as a module, Q just plug this coiled mechanism underneath the case back.
So, in theory, this sort of EMP function would not be integrated within the watch at all. It's an external module.
It is an external module because, as you can see, it's much thicker than the standard watch. So for everyday use, it's not really convenient to have this module underneath or above the skin, just for the final mission. And there's also, maybe you can see here, the activator, which is fitted on the clasp. Maybe you can turn the watch
Turn
like
it
this.
over. So he presses on that
Exactly. He press this pusher
to activate.
and then it activates the EMP. EMP definition is electromagnetic pulse. You have to be very close to the electronic device you want to destroy. It's really a destruction of any electronic device. So the EMP produce electronic magnetic pulse, which is a combination between an electric field and a magnetic field. So you have volt and ampere, and so the combination is watt and per square meters. So if you go close to any electronic device and during a very short time, you can destroy everything. I mean, and that's why during the movie he can open a door, a closing door.
He went like, that's why you may recall that he actually had to go right up to the door with his wrist, and like, and when he was, you know, with the villain and
the Primo.
Yes.
This is the
How many times have you watched the movie, Greg?
Just one. Primo. This is the nasty Italian guy, which is actually a French actor. It's not Italian. Yeah, he has a kind of bionic eye, and
he had to go like really close, like really, like up to like here,
and then boom.
Yeah. So and he used it actually quite a number of times.
Yeah, during the movie twice. Yeah.
He used it only. Oh, okay. I thought it was. Well, I need to watch the movie again clearly. But he used it twice, and this didn't interfere at all. It seemed. Well, in the movie anyway, it didn't interfere with the running of the watch.
No, it doesn't stop.
And because the timing function of the watch is
the,
also super important.
It's super important. Yeah. For the rendezvous, yes, of course. And it doesn't stop the watch at all. Because we introduced in that watch our anti-magnetic solution. We don't need any Faraday's cage in this case, and we played with non-ferrous material. Maybe you can grab this little piece here. So here, this is the movement, the 8806 movement.
That powers the watch that James Bond had on his wrist.
Exactly. Which has a diameter of 11.5 lines. And here you can see the technical solution for resisting up to 15,000 Gauss. The first step is to change the air spring, the spiral, which is made in silicone.
Which is, as we know, an amagnetic material. Completely.
Correct. Steel air spring is not possible. You can change everything around the movement, but the first step is definitely to change the air spring. And then we also replace these 2 liter spring, which are for the shock absorber of the balance wheel. They are made with the amorphous alloy coming from the liquid metal technologies, so non-ferrous. And then we change also all the plates of the coaxial escapement mechanism, which means that the plate of the anchor here, and also here the 2 plates of the coaxial wheel with 3 levels. So we use for this alloy the nickel phosphor material, which came from the Liga technology.
Let's see if we can give the audience a bit of a closer look at these elements.
So the first step for resisting up to 15,000 Gauss is to change the air spring. So you can see here
the spiral in the middle.
The spiral is made in silicone, and you can also see that the final curve has different section, and this is possible thanks to the silicone technology. Perfect.
And those are the little springs that you're talking about. In amorphous metal.
Correct. And then we have the coaxial anchor. So the plate is made in nickel phosphor, thanks to the Liga technology. And then you see the coaxial wheel, which has 3 levels. So the two wheels are also made in the Liga technology, nickel phosphor, plus a specific plating. And then the third level is actually the pinion, which is made with the Neva gauss. And we also change all the staff of the regulating organs, so the staff of the balance wheel, the coaxial escapement, and also the intermediate wheel a little bit further. They're also made with the Neva gauss alloy.
Yeah. Apologies for my hand shaking so much. I'm just so excited about this watch.
So no need of a Faraday's cage for the magnetic resistance.
Yeah, because normally the Faraday cage would be redirecting the electrical field or like away from the movement to stop any kind of damage.
Exactly, yeah.
But here there is nothing to protect because nothing is, as you said, nothing is of a ferrous material. Nothing could possibly be damaged by an electromagnetic field.
It's a strong advantage for not having a Faraday's cage on this watch. Yeah, exactly what you said. That's perfect for the gadget.
Yeah, because in a normal watch, if you had this kind of module affixed to it, and you were using this kind of EMP pulse, for whatever reasons, you could be a super spy. We don't know. We don't judge.
Yeah,
but in a normal watch, what would this do to the movement, do you think?
The normal watch, it will stop definitely the running seconds. Yeah. And
Would it
then-
just stop temporarily, or would it stop like?
Yeah, for a short moment, but then you have the remnant field, and you will lose your accuracy.
Yes. So you would literally stop the watch for a temporary
Correct.
moment while it's in use, and then even when it starts working again, you would see that the performance has suffered.
Correct. The chronometric performance will be changed. You will lose few minutes a day. You can gain or lose depending.
Which is not a good idea if you're a super spy trying to save the world. Losing minutes or gaining minutes, either way, not a good idea.
Keeping the accuracy is important for a spy. Yes.
Exactly.
Definitely.
In fact, the timing element was actually quite important in some of the previous films, if I remember correctly. Like, for example, in Spectre, there was a 1 minute countdown. And once again, I'm sorry, if you haven't watched Spectre by now, I'm not going to apologize anymore for any spoilers. You should have watched Spectre by now. It was out in, what was it,
2015.
2015. So if you haven't watched it, shame on you.
Yeah. 2015, it was a great development, also with a very good collaboration with Daniel Craig himself, but also the 007 producers. We had also to change a little bit the design of the watch. It was not the Seamaster 300 meters, but it was the Seamaster 300, inspired by the first professional diver's watch in 1957, part of the famous trilogy.
Yes. In fact, I think you have the watch right here.
Yes.
Special surprise. Guest appearance from the watch from Spectre.
Here we are.
So what we are looking at is a watch that actually was not produced at all.
It was not produced. It's a prototype. We produced few prototypes for the movie. One with a wireless system, and another kind of prototype with a wire in order to tune the LED display. You cannot see here, but here the idea was to introduce a kind of countdown system plus a LED display in red, of course. Yeah, in order to start the countdown of the bomb's watch.
Yeah, because just to recap a bit, to remind anyone who hasn't watched the film in a while, there was a 1 minute countdown to an explosive charge that was actually incorporated in the watch.
Exactly, it was a primary explosive inside the watch, and to activate that watch with a 1 minute countdown, James Bond had to play with the bezel in order to do
to activate a specific.
Exactly.
And so unlike the watch in No Time to Die, which could be used a couple of times, at least this much we know, this was a one-time only. Don't make a mistake because you can't get it back.
One chance.
One chance.
Yeah.
And it was a crucial chance.
It was.
It allowed him to escape.
Absolutely, yes. Save his life.
And the lady.
And the lady as well. Yeah.
Important.
Important.
Don't
Ladies
forget.
First. Yeah, ladies first. What we changed in terms of design was the scale of the bezel. Usually a diver's watch has a 60-minute diving scale, which is useful for a diver, but in this case we decided to replace the 60 minutes diving scale by a 12-hour time zone function in order to...
Could you demonstrate how it's actually, because it was important for the movie, for the functional watch, that it's bi-directional.
Exactly. And also the idea was to make the code, so 1, 0, 2, 0, and of course the last digit will be... And then you can see the illumination of the LED display, which is underneath the dial. So it's the system, the electronic device is taken in sandwich between the dial and the movement.
Okay, hold on, Greg. So I heard this word that you just said, sandwich. Now we all know, because we all love Omega, we're big Omega fans over here, but we know that the sandwich dial was only introduced in the Omega catalog of watches this year.
This year, yeah.
But you're telling me that you were already playing around with this for a movie?
Yeah.
Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, exactly. But it was a prototype, you know. We did not commercialize that version. Yeah. We even introduced a patent for this system, because the watch itself has a movement. We had also to remove the self-winding mechanism in order to put the battery plus the electronic devices, and we really play with the bezel, having some magnet in order to activate the code.
Wow.
Yeah.
And again, the magnets, even within the watch, it doesn't affect the performance of the watch or the movement at all, because
the movement has this anti-magnetic solution
technology that Omega, I would say, have they are certainly the leaders in this field against anti-magnetism in watches.
Yeah, most of our mechanical watches now have this anti-magnetic solution. Yeah.
Yeah. So in the most part of the Omega product.
Correct. Yeah, we have few exceptions, like the 3-to-1 caliber.
Yes, because for historic reasons, of course.
Of course, but by 2022, all our mechanical watches will be equipped with the anti-magnetic solution, and also certified by Metas with a master chronometer status.
Wow! So it's a watch really worthy of a super spy who is really relying on his watch to perform at the very, very highest levels, and that's now made available to us. But that's super interesting what you just revealed to us, that sometimes behind the product creation or product development process at Omega, there is sometimes a little Hollywood magic inspiring or driving this kind of innovation, or making you try new things. So this has been an amazing exploration of how the worlds of movie making and the worlds of watchmaking come together. And thank you so much for spending time with us. I just have maybe one last question to finish off this little session with. From your perspective, in your opinion, what would you say were the most realistic James Bond watches and special functions that you saw in the films?
Omega watches.
Of course, Omega watches.
No, I think the last watch with the last gimmick is probably the most realistic gadget.
The latest one?
The latest one with the EMP pulse, and also the watch for Spectre, the one you just saw before, I think is also realistic. The problem is to find some space to introduce the explosive. It's a C4 explosive material, and the movement itself. So the only question is the space. As you can see, the watch has still the same thickness as the current one, but if you want to introduce some C4 explosive, it will be thicker. And yeah, that's it. Maybe grappling hook is not really feasible, you know.
Which one was that from?
I think it was the word is not enough. We had also a kind of LED display in order to use it as a torch, you know, to see under dark conditions.
So it actually emitted light.
Exactly. So this was possible and feasible, of course, but
maybe not the grappling.
The grappling hook, I mean, you know.
not at this point in time.
Yeah, 15 meters, you know.
It was 15 meters of microfilament.
Exactly,
and
if you take
you could lift an entire man.
And if you take in consideration the weight of James Bond, which is almost, you know, between 75 and 80 kilograms, something like that.
I don't know how much James Bond weighs, but this is something that I'm sure James Bond film fans of the, you know, people who really enthusiasts of the film franchise will probably know. I don't know how much James Bond weighs, but he's around like kind of your shape, no?
Kind of, yes.
Kind of, yeah. You could be a super spy. Okay, so top 3 realistic gadget functions in James Bond watches.
EMP.
The EMP function in No Time to Die.
The bomb watch, maybe.
The bomb watch in subject to size, obviously.
LED display.
And the LED display done
and
like that.
Maybe helium escape valve detonator is also feasible. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think it was during the Die Another Day, something like that.
Yeah, because how would it
be? It
would be like by radio control or something.
Exactly, yeah.
Ah.
It's a question of miniaturization, yeah.
Everything's a question of miniaturization, and you know, in the industry of watchmaking, this is what they do all the time.
We are quite good on that field, yes.
It is micromechanics.
Micro.
So thank you so much for spending
You're
time with us. I
welcome,
feel like we could still continue this conversation for much longer, but hopefully if you like what we've shown you so far and what we've talked about so far, you like this video, leave us a comment telling us if you would like to see more of this kind of stuff, if you'd like us to invite Gregory back to do another session with us and talk a bit more about the amazing world of watchmaking that he's involved in. And see you guys next time. Like the video, subscribe, and see you next time.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Susan.